all my hustlers, couch flippers, entrepreneurs. So today's video, I'm going to be sharing a recorded call from my private group called the Resell Mafia, six-figure couch flippers. And on this recording, I had two speakers come and share some knowledge with the rest of the group. Their names are Timmy and James. And James is going to be talking about how he makes 3K weeks consistently. And then also Timmy is going to be sharing why using affordable rentals is the way to go, and how you can save money in the long run just using rentals, and how there's no excuses left for those to not get started if you don't have a van or a truck, because you can use rentals to get started. So I'm excited to share this with you guys because I got a lot of feedback in the group from people saying, wow, that blew my mind. I didn't know you could do this. I didn't know you could do that. I now know my next steps. So I want you guys to experience that too. But those who are requesting to join the Resell Mafia and I haven't approved your request, I apologize. But I have made a vow, a promise to the rest of the group that I will only add people with experience, because we want to make sure that everybody who joins has experience to share with the rest of the group to where we can all thrive. So those who are wanting to get started, keep watching my videos, learn, keep gaining knowledge, and then apply it. And then once you're ready and you have some experience, request to join and I might add you. So with that being said, thank you, Timmy. Thank you, James, for all the knowledge. I'll be here listening again, taking notes. This is going to be more of a podcast, so you can just pop in your headphones while you're driving, working on some couches, and just listen, soak up the knowledge, and go out and apply and watch your income grow. So let's get into it. You stay just so humble, which I appreciate. When I get to talk to you and ask you about your numbers, you'll just let me know that you'll casually, like 3K weeks has become the norm, to where I wanted to ask you, what do you believe goes into consistent 3K a week?
I personally, I have access to my garage. I have a two-car garage where I previously started shop. Two-car garage. I was doing all my flipping here, and then I kind of expanded. I also have a storage unit. You know, with me having that space, it allows me to price my couches what they're worth, in my opinion. When I was just operating on my garage, I wanted to get my inventory moving. Dante, you and I have talked about this. You came in with the mindset of like, when I get a couch, I've got to get rid of it. So I was also in that, starting off, is once I got a couch, I didn't want to have it to sit for any more than 2 days or whatnot. Now I have the luxury with the space that I have. If I have a nice couch that I know I can get for maybe $900, I will wait on it a little while and get that $900, that opposed to settling for maybe $600 from potential buyers.
Right. I just want to thank you, brother, because you helped me be patient and realize it's going to go to the right buyer. All it takes is one sale. Once you have more space, you're able to tap into higher pricing, therefore able to boost your profits.
As I became familiar with pricing, what sells for what and what the value is, what I have, I've also increased. Well, back when I first started, I didn't want to spend anything over $100. So that gradually increased from 100 to 150. Okay, I'll spend 200. Now it's like, if I see a decent couch, I'll spend $400. But that I do not like doing. I really personally don't like going over $200. But if there's a big boy out there, Dante, it's my term when or big money makers. I call them big boys. If there's a big boy out there for maybe $400 or $500, I will take that chance. I will take that chance and allow it to sit a while to come up with that one extra 1K margin or whatever it is. So again, that's also just throwing yourself out there. Take a leap of faith on the couch. I wouldn't say do it as much, but I try to do that once a week. But I'll take that chance and maybe clean it up, stage it really, really, really well, and then see what I can come up with as well. So,
is there anything else around pricing or anything in general you wanted to share that you think has helped you?
Just knowledge and feeding your brain. YouTube. Every couch flipper who's made a YouTube, I probably watched it, all of their videos, constantly on Facebook, constantly on YouTube, how to fix it, how to fix a couch, or pricing. I'll just randomly go to West Elm's website and just, see what their couches are going for. Just you're constantly educating yourself on what's things going for, or even in your market. Maybe you're studying the market. Maybe you're having a slow time where you're not getting any inventory, but just seeing what other flippers, not even in your area, but you can go, I don't know, in Texas maybe, and just see what's going on for them, how other flippers are operating and what they're asking for this certain type of couch. Form your own pricing in your mind, and just always gaining knowledge, always try to get better. So, and always pushing yourself.
For sure. That's one thing I noticed amongst the people that are really killing it in the group is they're hungry for more information to educate themselves. Like everything you just described, like it's 100% correct. James, again, thank you. I'm going to have Timmy share some things, some gems. But Timmy, I wanted you to kind of share how you got in the couch flipping game and where you're at, what area you're in.
So yeah, I'm in Florida, in Palm Beach County. It's one of the largest counties in Florida. So there's a good volume of people moving out and in, and just refurnishing houses. It was about 4 months ago now. My brother-in-law, he approached me. He was like, "Oh, we should flip couches." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure." And he had already had a couch like lined up and everything. It was like a nice white sectional, and we sold it like the next day. And I was like, "Oh, I'm going in on this," and I just started buying like as much as I could. And at this point, I was getting like into like Persian rugs and accent chairs and just kind of like doing all this stuff that I found to be flippable. I would later phase out of that because I found that basically, accent chairs and rugs, they move a lot slower than a necessity like a couch. You know what I mean?
For
Like,
sure.
everybody needs a couch. Like you can't have a house in a living room without a couch. So there's always going to be buyers out there. So yeah, basically I just kind of got into it with just flipping accent chairs at first, and then I really got into the couches, and the couches were the most successful like portion of the game. So I just focused more intention into finding good methods of picking up, finding quality items, and I'm luckily in a county where you have people who are like pretty wealthy. They buy these things next to new or brand new, and due to some circumstance, whether they're closing a house. That's a very popular thing around here right now, is somebody's closing on a house. They just want the thing gone because they have a big check coming in anyway, so they're going to let you take their $2,000 sectional from West Elm for nothing, just as long as you got a muscle to come and bring the thing out. So I'm in kind of a sweet spot for finding like quality items like that. And yeah, it's just because of the the inventory being as good as it is, I have just not stopped. I just keep on picking up beautiful pieces after beautiful pieces, and
Right.
marketing and such. And yeah, you guys said something earlier about when you have a good item and you like hold on to it for a bit to get that right buyer. That's like what it's all about. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like you could even have like a crappy couch and somebody's going to be grateful for it. Like it's just a matter of kind of like being patient, with the larger sectionals. Like usually my price range for now is like 200 or less, because in my area I can find a lot of stuff like that. And that way, like my margins are a little bit bigger. So at the minimum, I can flip whatever I have for like 400 to 500. Like for higher for me is like 900 range. I've had like a couple really good IKEAs. I got like one really nice IKEA for $80, and I looked at the retail of it. It was like $1,200. I just posted it 2 weeks. Somebody came by and they saw what it was and they wanted it. So it's like seeing stuff like that. Seeing those numbers, I'm like, oh yeah, the possibilities with making like 2K a month, 2K a week, to 4K a month are there. Like my brother-in-law, he's the kid that got me into it, and he's like not sold a couch since the first one we sold. I just have had a knack for it and like put a lot of effort into it and made it like my full-time thing. I always bring digits back to him. I'll be like, yeah, I made like $3,000 in the last 2 weeks. And he's like, what? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, well, I'm picking up a lot of couches. You should try it out. And he's got a van too, so I'll hit him up every once in a while to do pickups. But getting in a rhythm of picking up couches, washing them down, staging them, and then storing them, I found The picking up, aligning the stars so that you can pick up a couch before anybody else gets their chance to get to the item has been like key. And sometimes it's like, aligning a U-Haul, right? Like I'll get a U-Haul. Usually it's about like $19 a day or some change, between 69 cents a mile to like 80, and then gas, So whatever I'm going to get, and I can tell from the images, like I'm pretty dead certain that by the time I get there, that couch at the very minimum is going to get me what I just paid for a U-Haul to get to get it. I'll go and finesse that U-Haul, using like one sacrificial couch, that is paying for the U-Haul that allows me to get more inventory. I particularly love budget. I just used a budget today. We drove around for miles, dropped off a couch. The lady paid me $60. That was my like flat rate fee for a rental. I'm like, all right, $60. She put down a deposit for 60. I got the rental. I picked up her couch, delivered it. She paid me in full. Before I even showed up to her place, I was already in touch with a lady selling a couch, like across the county, basically. And I don't have to worry about any of the costs of the miles, the van, any of that, because this first client already paid for me to be able to access more couches on the pickup, basically for free. So it's like
Man,
kind of like, I call it like frictionless deals, like where it's like something is so smooth, like where you flip a couch and it just pays for like two more. You pick up a couch that you're not even holding for that long, and you already have a buyer before you get the chance to drop it off. You gotta love when stuff like that happens. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, I call it like a frictionless kind of like deal.
right. Timmy, I was going to ask you, when it comes to these rentals, are you in the description, are you putting that you have to go get a rental and that's why you're charging them, or you just have like a $60 delivery fee, or do you
Yeah,
describe that you're getting a rental?
I just run it down to them by the time they show up and they show me the conviction that they want that couch. I'm like, okay, it's usually a $60 delivery, and I tell them like, within 25 miles. If it's less than 25 miles, I might even be like $30, because I'm
Hmm.
not going to have a U-Haul for that long. Like you just pay, you cover the cost for the U-Haul, and for the XYZ amount of mileage it's going to take me to get to you. You know what I mean? And then I'll encompass whatever. If I use the U-Haul after, I'll pay for it. But you've already paid for it because you bought the couch. But
Right.
I basically tell people on arrival and after their like commitment to it that it's going to be $60 for the delivery, and most people eat that right up because they want the couch delivered and they don't feel like renting a van and doing all that. So you're really just like selling them easy to do like job. It's like, all right, I'll do it for $60. You're like, oh yeah, thank you, thank God. And a lot of the time the clients like you know, I'm sure all of us know, they're just super happy to find a couch and then also have it delivered. Like it's an easy negotiation.
For sure.
I make it very affordable though for most people, just so that they're not too scared off by any numbers. Like I probably could charge like more than 60, you know what I mean? Like talking about labor and then, the U-Haul costs and everything like that. But 60 I think is fair, and I'm already making money off the initial sale.
For sure.
So it's like 60 is just like, them helping me get another thing that I'm going to, sell for a good margin.
Right. The other question I had was, when it comes to like, say those deals pop up that are probably going to go quick,
Yeah.
are rentals readily available, like to where you can just call
No.
in and get one, or
This
you have to
is
kind of plan it?
Yeah, you definitely do have to plan it. I would even go as far, if you have enough volume throughout the month, I would even recommend on the weekends you're going to be busy, just make a reservation. It doesn't cost you anything to make a reservation. You can cancel at any time, but as long as you can make a reservation, you at least have the right to go and get whatever van you're making an arrangement for. And typically what I rent is cargo vans because they're best on gas, and sprinter vans because they're also good on gas, and you can load them to the brim. Like I can fit like 3 couches into one sprinter van, and if I have like a long drive, like I'll load that thing up before I have to return it,
For
and I
sure.
always rent it for 24 hours. Don't do like a 6-hour rental or anything like that, because you never know if, you get an extra heavy couch and it just like bleeds into, a whole day and then the next morning type of deal. And you never know, the next day you might have a buyer lined up that's like, okay, let me let me get this delivered. It's like, oh, well, I just happen to have a rental. You just pay me $60 to cover the rental cost that I've already rented. This is kind
Mhm.
of like my method to my madness of making sure that I'm not paying for rentals ever.
Right. And 24 hours is plenty to where you can have that ability to plan, um, plan with customers and plan pickups and not be like on a time crunch.
Yeah,
And I was gonna say, because when you told me that, I was like, I had an idea in my mind that rentals were super inconvenient, but you educated me the fact that you're actually saving money probably long term,
yeah.
by having just getting rentals. So what's your thoughts on that? And like as a long term investment, I know you said potentially you might get a vehicle, but for now you've thought it through, and it's actually a good option for people who want to get started and don't have a vehicle yet.
I absolutely find it easier to like maintain a truck that you don't own.
For sure, for sure.
When a company's taking care of it, and they're doing roadside assistance and all of that. Literally, like you can like for me in my situation, I live in a townhome, so I don't have a parking garage, and I don't have a access to a parking spot where I could put a Sprinter, readily available all the time. So it works best for me to do that. Like I know for some people who have apartments and stuff like that, like that's probably their best option too. Um, and like when I was like kind of like doing the math on it, I was like looking at Sprinter vans and looking at cargo vans, and I was really like, oh man, these things are like, they're a pretty penny, but to pay like next to nothing, or sometimes just absolutely nothing for access to, a Sprinter van or just to rent it. This is what Amazon does. Like they do these rentals and stuff like that because they don't want to buy a whole new truck just to keep up with seasonal deliveries.
For
So
sure.
like kind of using like that Amazon logic of like why they do the rentals, that's the only other people I compete with for getting rentals. I've noticed too. It's like
Mm.
Amazon or UPS and stuff like that. That's more towards the holidays though. Right now it's like kind of a lull season, so there's not too much of scarcity for like nice budget trucks. And if
Right.
anybody's like looking to get like a van or anything like that, like I would recommend it if you find a good deal. But just keep in mind with maintenance, you might kind of come to a break-even point. And there's one dude who put out a video of like couch flipping, and he bought a diesel truck, right? And eventually that diesel truck like broke down, and it cost him like a huge amount of money. And I guess he was wheeling and dealing, but like that was a huge cost. Whereas you just like kind of book a budget or a U-Haul, that cost doesn't fall on you. I mean, if the truck breaks down, it's U-Haul's thing to take care of. Then you can just get another rental, and you're back to business. So if you can factor in what sales you need to get done, like what your overhead would be with like, renting a U-Haul on a weekly basis, and planning it ahead, like you'll be ahead of the game. Really, that's been like the best thing for me. Is just renting a U-Haul. I got a very good relationship with all the U-Haul stations out here and the budget truck people. Like they all know me. They're like, "Oh, you're busy, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know
Hmm.
it." Just like kind of like it's for especially if like you live in an apartment situation or any type of place where you don't have a space to park a big truck or a van or anything of that sort. Just go for the U-Hauls and the budgets, and then when you're pricing your couches, price them to include the cost of whatever the budget might be or the U-Haul might be, and then I don't put in my details that it's going to be that delivery is free or anything. In this economy, I just put delivery is negotiable. So then like I can set the tone based off of how the conversation is going. And usually if somebody's asking me too, they're like, oh, they're trying to get a deal on the couch. I'll even say like, I'll give you a deal on the couch if you pick up. If you're not picking up, then it's going to be full price and then some. And this is kind of a way that like I'm just getting the most I can from the couch I'm flipping at that moment. If they want to like be convenient for me and then pick it up, I'll let you get it for like $50 off.
Right.
Something simple. I'll let you feel like you got a deal on it. And some
For
people
sure.
they might have a buddy that has a truck or something like that, and they'll go through this hassle. But there's been times where people show up, and I just happen to have a U-Haul there, for the meeting. They show up with a van, and it's like a tool van crammed with stuff, and they have no room for the couch. I'm like, yeah, you throw me $50, I'll deliver it to you. They're like, oh yeah, we'll just do that. We don't want to do trips. So
Right. And it shows you're going the extra mile for people when like you have a rental there and they're just like you said, at the end of the day, they just want it delivered if they like the
yeah,
couch, to where you really shifted my thinking process in terms of rental. And I appreciate that, because this is some
yeah,
good information for anybody. Because like I always have that, plan B mentality of, what if my truck breaks down? What am I going to do? Or
hmm
if it gets stolen or something, what's the game plan?
yeah.
Because,
And
and
optimizing the use of the rental. So like if somebody pays for a rental, like who's to say you need to return it that day? You take like 15% of whatever you just got back from that couch and you put it towards another one you can pick up on the route home. Like that's always like how I end up picking stuff up, and why I love the budget sprinters so much, because I'll like somebody will pay to have a couch delivered. They've paid for this thing, and now I've crammed it with 3 other couches. It was like it's like such a frictionless kind of deal.
for
Yeah.
sure. I was going to say, but the fact that I wasn't aware that Amazon is really, like, you're battling with Amazon for all these rentals, and I wanted to go in that direction because the fact that you're studying what like billion-trillion-dollar companies are doing, and like you're trying to compete with them. I noticed that like you love to just study like the market in general, how things move. You got a lot of ideas. You're innovative. What's some things that you've found from just, because we've talked
From
a
my
lot back and
research,
forth.
right?
Yeah, from your
Yeah.
research.
Basically, I've noticed like the market of buyers is very cyclical, and it can be based off of pay periods to first of the month when people get settled into their apartment. They've paid their deposit and they've paid for electric and everything like that. They're not going to go and buy a new couch. They're going to the secondary market for, a nice piece. And if you have a nice piece that's within their price range, you know what I mean? Like they're at your mercy of like kind of selling them what they want at what they can afford. And with the cyclical part, it's like people get paid like three times a month, 2 times a month. So if you kind of like plan to do postings around those times, you get a lot more traction on your posts. If especially towards the end of the month, this is like a trick that I do. Towards the end of the month, like I'll make a watch list. Towards the beginning of the month, I make a watch list. I'll call it the July watch list, right? And then I'll put all of these nice couches in there that are like out of this range that I don't want to pay, but I'll put them in there, and some of them will even be like, I need this gone by XYZ date. I'll check back towards the end of the month when everybody starts getting desperate to get these couches gone because they're moving out of town and nobody came and picked it up for the price that they wanted. And then I come through it and I'm like, half off. I'll come get it today. I got a U-Haul. And they're like more than willing. They're like, yes, just come now, please. Like they're begging you at that point to come and get the thing. And like, I'll go and I'll take the same couches that, they were impatiently selling, and I'll patiently post it. And, beginning of the month, when people start moving into their new apartments, houses, whatever it may be, that's when you start to see the inventory fly. Like first couple of weeks during the beginning of the month, like I've noticed there's just way more volume of buyers than there are sellers. End of the month, towards the end of the month, way more sellers than there are buyers. So like in my area, at least, like there's a lot of renters out here. So like every month, there's renters getting rid of their IKEAs, getting rid of their, Ashley furniture, getting rid of whatever they got to just like make room for their U-Haul trip that they got to go to like whatever town they're going to. And like, studying that and just kind of like, I'm sure everybody in here has seen when they go to a house and they're selling something, it's like 90% of the time they're like, no, we're moving, So if you like kind of like, it's like your demographic of who you sell to, just know the demographic of who you'd be buying from too. And, you can get the best deals that you can potentially get, as long as you beat the competition to them.
Exactly. I was gonna say I've been doing that as well, because you said a watch list. It's literally called watch list on OfferUp, right? And then
Yeah.
Facebook, you just save the listing.
Yeah. On Facebook, I don't necessarily like Facebook the volume's very big on there. Like if there's something on there that I like, there's a good chance that somebody else will like it as well. And they'll just like pay for XYZ for it, So Facebook, I haven't made as much of a watch list for. You definitely can do a saved list, but I find some of the most like unaware sellers on OfferUp. Like Facebook Marketplace. Usually, people on the marketplace, this is just from my experience, also use OfferUp, but people who use OfferUp exclusively don't use Facebook, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like there's like a different of like client like a seller base, and OfferUp people are really kind of like I don't know how to explain it. They're a different mindset of like this has got to go quick, you know, like I'm impatiently trying to get rid of this. Facebook Marketplace is like, you know, patient buyers and patient sellers.
For sure.
So you can definitely do like a watch list on both, and it would, you know, whatever's going to help you just like nip that price in the butt of like what you want. But I found on OfferUp things can sit for a while. I don't know if it's based off their algorithm too, is a little funky. Like, so if the person does a post at the beginning of the month and they're expecting to sell it by the end of the month, and they've not updated their post, like that thing's buried. But between every other couch that's come onto the market in the last month. So that's kind of how OfferUp has been like, you know, the juicy one for me for getting the deals on couches, you know. And you can see like, oh, it's posted for a month. You know, this person after a month, they want this thing gone.
For sure. And there's also another benefit I would say of like you said, you're putting them on the watch list to potentially lowball them, but also it's a good thing. At least I used it previously to kind of see what couches are selling. So like when I first started tapping into selling couches for that higher price, I would go to nice couches that were listed high and just save them just to see if they like sell after a week. Or on Facebook you could go
Yep.
back to them and see how much how many people saved the post, to where
Yeah.
you can start getting belief that like, hey, couches do sell for this price. I'm just limiting myself with this limiting beliefs of what I can price things for. So there's a double benefit there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But is there anything else in particular that you think would help people in the group just to keep on expanding? Because I know you just got your second storage
Oh
unit
yeah.
and you're just growing, man. So
Yeah, if I sell a big sectional, and then sorry, my kid's running up to me. If I have a big sectional I've just picked up, and then like, you know, I'm picking up smaller couches in the smaller, like in the lower volume times of the week when you have like no sales. If you have these $200 couches you can sell to people, that will, you know, keep your numbers up a little bit, and, you know, kind of like base hits. I call them base hit couches, where you get like a 2-seater couch, a 3-seater couch. And, you know, it's a nice looking couch. You picked it up for like $50, $60. You flip it for 200, you know, puts a little gas in the tank. Like that's a thing that I found a lot of luck with. You know what I mean? Especially like in my price range, like usually like 200 and less. And then there's always somebody who's selling, like people who are moving into smaller apartments. They're downsizing. They're looking for smaller couches. So there's a good number of people looking for these sized couches. So like have some of those ready for like the college students, you know, the single person that just got their own unit, you know, their own apartment, and they don't want to get a whole like huge sectional because, you know, they're sharing this apartment with like a roommate and a dog, you know what I mean? So they don't have that much room. So they just want like a nice 3-seater couch where they can watch movies on. You know, having that stuff is good, you know, just in general for, you know, the slower times of the week. I think I was talking about it in like the group with somebody like a little bit ago. Like there's like a slower period of the month, the middle of the month area. It's like same thing with like the middle of the week, you know, there's like less people looking around.
for sure. I'll have you finish off with this because I
Mhm.
know you shared a lot of tactics as well as mindset. But is there any mindset things that you would share with people?
Yeah, it just like think with like in terms of abundance. Like that's been like a thing that gets me over the humps, you know, like just knowing that there's enough people out there looking with their eyes, you know. There's like millions of eyes out there. A few of them are going to look at your couches, you know, and just like don't sweat the small stuff. Even if you meet up with somebody and they're like, oh, I don't like this, you know, like there's always going to be another person that will like it, or it's up to their par or something like that. So like there's like this whole thing of like, you know, there's principles of like having like a positive outlook. It attracts positivity and you get like a more fruitful life because of it, you know.
For sure.
And that's kind of just like how I, you know, practice everything just outside of couch flipping. You know, that's like an abundance mindset is way better than a scarcity mindset, because if you have a scarcity mindset, basically you know, your world will start to confirm that scarcity. You know what I mean? If you think, oh man, like I'm not selling enough couches, you won't sell enough couches, you know. But if you think like I'm going to sell enough couches, then you will sell. Like your brain will kind of help you manifest and confirm these things. And I know some people don't like that, like, kind of talk, but it is kind of, true to some extent of, like, keeping positive allows positivity to come.
Absolutely. That's how it works, man. Dropping gems. Thank you so much, man. I'm excited to go back and listen to this. I'm about to take some notes later, because I could tell, like, just you and James, some students out here, you guys have been helping me grow and expand. So I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's awesome to be a part of a group that's, like, focused on the hustle.